This meditation is designed to support you in accessing and receiving energy from your universal self, a frequency of light personal to each of us. In this meditation, first we have the request from the human self asking for contact. Then comes the response from the universal self, a light frequency given for each of us. The codes spring forth from the universal self to you, to us, as evolving humans seeking to evolve our world. The human self asks, and then the universal self responds. Dearly beloved universal self, you who are an expression of the light, you who resonate at the frequency of light, you who can materialize and dematerialize, you who can resonate throughout the universe, you who are radiant, joyful, ecstatic, I ask for contact with you now. Beloved, you have asked for contact with me, your universal self. Here I am. Here I always am. I am coded with your own evolution. I am your universal self. I am your partner in conscious evolution on the other side of the veil of your human consciousness. Coming through now that you asked for me. Ask, and it is given. Knock, and doors are opening. You have requested contact with the highest frequency of your being. You are raising your frequencies to become a universal human, a co-creator of the human world, a co-creator of the emerging world. I now offer to you evolutionary codes to lift you into the light, codes that radiate just beyond your range of experience. I have guided you from the beginning. I am your own beloved greater self, now entering your field of consciousness. Today is the extended wedding day of your essential self and your universal self. I am now infusing you with my power and radiance. Stop now and feel your divine qualities in order to incarnate them. Hold your attention still to crystallize the image of your whole being in your consciousness and therefore become it. Be ready to repattern, for the larger pattern is now ready for you. I will never leave you. Whenever you are in pain, whenever you feel a nameless anxiety, stop. Breathe. I will radiate my presence. I now have dominion within your being because you asked me to come in the whole way. I breathe you upward into me so that your heaviness becomes my lightness. Your fear is comforted by union with me. This, I, your universal self, commit to you. This is the direction of your evolution. This is the intention of creation, the drive of the life force, the unfolding of spirit. Create an aura of silence around you till you can hear and feel me at all times. Let your self-conscious mind be completely absorbed in your God-conscious mind. Everyone is called to their posts, for the hour of our birth is at hand. You can have absolute faith in what you are now undertaking when you put this purpose first.
Where do we start here? There's Linda. Where are we? Oh, there we are. Okay. So, welcome everyone. I just want to get a little date stamp on this. This is June 20th, 2019. And this is our first call since our beautiful gathering at Sunrise Ranch from June 12th through the 16th, 2019. And I hope that all of you've been sharing so many beautiful pictures and bringing so many beautiful memories. I just, and so much joy. And Bob is saying, and we welcome, let me see, I'm not sure there's someone who's calling in area code 573. Do you want to speak and present yourself? Area code 573-489-7334. Or I'll find you.
Hey, that's me. It's Tanya.
Oh, it's Tanya. Okay.
Tanya, glad to have you. Go ahead and label that.
Okay, I'm going to label that. I'm going to rename that. Tanya, yay. Okay, so we have a gathering, I don't know of how many, but a beautiful group. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this over to Bob and the Weavers.
Oh.
Okay. You go cut the pizza then.
Okay.
Quietly. So, oh, hello. So right here behind me, lean forward, Anna. There's Anna. Donna. Liz. Allie. Our Fort Collins contingencies well represented. And we're all squeezed here in the mobile turtle hut of consciousness. Yes, that's the pizza cutter, Noel. And Linda of Northwest Indiana, thank you for joining us along with those that participated. Stephen, thank you so much for being a part of the evening as well. And who?
Liz's dog Law.
Oh, and Liz's dog Lala. I'm sorry, right there on her shoulder. So we haven't always done this after the convergence, but our typical third Thursday call, which we've had since every month since 2014. We usually have guests, and the guest this evening is all of us. And so we would love to hear from everybody to take a few minutes and talk about, in the case of a couple of you that got to drive back to Missouri or to northern New Mexico or wherever, long drives to chat about what happened. As Barbara would say, what just happened here? So we would love to hear from everybody about, for them, what just happened here. And we'll one by one take the folks here in the mobile turtle hut of consciousness. But would someone else like to throw their hand up and lead off about anything you'd like to share, how you brought this experience back into your life, what you're going to do different, all those things you thought about as we were planting the tree in the permaculture garden? Would love to hear from you. Who would like to go first? I know you're all very shy. I noticed that.
Okay.
Who's first?
Was it worth coming to CCC? If so, why?
Kat's unmuting right now as we speak. She's going to speak first.
Except I'm afraid my dogs are going to bark while we do this.
We love dogs.
No, I mean, you know, how about me going first as a change, right? And if I sit right, I'm doing my Statue of Liberty imitation. But I was texting Dina earlier and I told her that I got answers to questions that I didn't know I had. And that's pretty powerful. And I think that my work as a massage therapist is like profoundly affected. I feel like so much more present and in tune with my patients. It's just been an incredible week, and I just can't thank you all enough.
Awesome.
Kat, is there anything you feel that your life is going to be doing differently around you, or that you're doing to the world? You're contributing to the world differently?
Oh my gosh. My daughter said that I even look different. She said there's just a peace in your eyes that, you know, she could see it like immediately. And I think that's huge. I was actually able to have a conversation with my dad today that I don't know that I would have had the courage to speak before. So yeah, and then, you know, that's going to change my relationship with my dad, and, you know, just goes from there. I think it's going to change everything.
I'd like to share.
Thanks. That's fantastic. Congratulations.
You're on mute too.
Congratulations. Go ahead, hon.
Thanks.
Okay. Kat, that's awesome. And I understand that you're bringing your daughter next year.
Yeah, she's already signed up. She's disappointed that she couldn't make it this year, but there's just something about it wasn't the right time, and we trust that, and that's okay.
Wonderful. Well, I want to share Cheryl Stegman, I don't believe is on the phone, but she said, she sent a text and said, I find myself so grateful for the whole event. It was super powerful for me not to participate when I did, and to participate when I did. She said that was part of my cancer lesson, going along instead of respecting what I thought best for me in the moment. I am grateful that opportunity arose and I was not judged for it. I worked through it, my own judgments, let it go, and love flowed. In addition to that, she signed up for next year. So that's good news. And I don't see Flo on here. I think she's with her family, but she has also contacted us and said that she is signing up for next year. So that's some good news too.
Yeah, so Linda Rosenthal and Stephen, we want to let you know that we've never done this before, but we have already set an early bird special for next year of $150 non-refundable, non-transferable, and it's only good through the end of this month. And
I think we have about a half dozen.
we already have a half dozen folks that are signed up. So there we be.
Yeah. So, and for us personally, for myself personally, things just are flowing. It seems like when we do one of these events, then the phone rings and there's good news. So something we're invested in that for 3 years, you know, suddenly opened the door and is happening. And also, Bob, you want to tell them about Bob put our truck for sale, and within a half hour, a person said, meet me at the bank, I want to give you cash. So all of these things, and then I'm going to turn our phone off right now because we're getting more, I don't want it to interrupt our call. So it's been wonderful for myself personally. It was just a beautiful experience, and really proud of the young people that were there. Got one of them here, and so we're cultivating a younger set and to pass our wisdom forward. So with that, I'm complete. Oh, no, I'm not. I'm lied. Damn it.
Can I ask or add something?
Sure.
Please do.
Here's from Liz.
Liz?
There are 4 people on the call. Actually, Karen just disappeared, but there are 3.5 people on the call. Up there she is. 4 people on the call right now whom I worked on, 5 people actually, with my my version of attunement, and I'd like to get some feedback. It was supposed to be cranial and it ended up being ankle, knee, head bone work. So I'd like to get some feedback either privately or publicly.
Well, for me, she worked on me and it was awesome. She is really totally gifted. So this doctor thing doesn't work out. Her gift is, but so thank you, Liz.
Well, the doctor thing isn't working out. So the other alternative ego doctor thing may work out. So
Indeed.
And I really enjoyed it. And, you know, it was a good turning point for me because I hadn't worked since my accident on anybody. And the first couple of people was exhausting, and then after that it was great for my hand and it was great for my head, and I really felt that it was nice for the people who I did work on to have like a little post CCC decompression.
Yeah, so sorry you guys ran off so quick. Bob and I and Sheila and others got worked on by Dr. Liz, and it was awesome. But someone else want to speak?
We'd like to hear from everyone.
Start calling on them, dear.
I'd like to share something.
Wait a second. Okay,
Donna.
just a second, Donna. And
go ahead.
Sherry, go ahead, Sherry. And then Donna.
For myself, it was so good to be back and be in the energy of like mind and so many people coming together with that thought of like growth, and I just feel full. And you know, I'm always giving with my people, you know, so it felt good to receive and to allow myself to do that. So I'm grateful for everyone.
Thank you so much, Sherry.
Yeah.
Thank you for the process that you shared.
Thank you. Yeah.
And
That was wonderful.
I was so in awe of the bravery for Brooke to sit with all of us in that circle.
Yeah. I was so proud of her, and you know, she approached me and she was just ready to do it, you know, and that was another piece. Just the vulnerability of everyone there was really powerful as well. And you know, for her to be able to just show up, having never experienced really much of anything of what she had that weekend, and then step in that place and be completely vulnerable, I was honored by that for sure.
Indeed. And Stephen and Linda, for your benefit, our gathering this year was the most, among other ways that it was the most diverse, it was the most age diverse ever. it was also the most time on spiritual path diverse. And the person that we're talking about is a 28-year-old who found out on Tuesday morning that she was going to be in Idaho, found out she was going to be at our convergence, which started at midday on Wednesday. And she had no clue about anything, what we were doing. Her father was registered. Linda, you remember Darren, and
His daughter.
he realized that he had business meetings because he lives in the present moment and he doesn't think about the next day's meetings until the next day. And so he rented a car, put his 28-year-old daughter in the car and said, drive towards Loveland, Colorado. And I think that was the beginning of her spiritual journey. So we were very, very blessed. Donna.
Well,
Can you hear us okay that are in the back row at back here? Can you all hear us? Okay, sorry.
Yes.
That's good.
Yeah.
So I appreciated the convergence, of course, but my grandson the last couple of days has ended up to be the poster child for speaking your truth.
Wow.
Yay. And he's getting ready to move in with me. And then Tuesday morning, his mother said, oh no, you have to move to Western Wyoming with me. And he was in this huge panic place when I picked him up yesterday. And so we talked a little bit about how important it is to speak your own truth and to be able to say, this is my life decision. And so I tuned up his chakras. We did some setting of intentions. I took the opportunity to set sacred space so he could discuss things with his mother. And it couldn't have gone more perfectly.
Wow.
Yay.
Wow.
And so that was huge for him. At 17, he's probably, because he hasn't lived with me for a long time, he hasn't really been in this spiritual mode, and he kind of gave me this roll of the eyes, but we've done this before, and he was pretty incredibly excited about it. So,
Wow.
It slipped right through me and helped someone else I love dearly.
Wow.
Wow.
Amazing.
Hopefully he'll come next year.
I know. I was just thinking about that.
I was thinking about that too when I found out he's moving down here. Like, how can we get Kieran here?
So, yeah.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Who'd like to share next?
Just call on people, dear.
Well, I can go.
Go ahead, Anna.
Since we're on. For me, I just have to say that the whole experience was pretty joyful. It was so good to be amongst new family that I know. And a lot of confirmation of my path and everything. That was pretty neat for people, diverse people that didn't know about my path. Much higher.
Yes, please.
And the other thing is that for me, I hear Noel saying, all of these things happen. But for me, what had come is an intensity of stuff that was not there before. So, with these days of intensity of being together, I feel like more acompañada, which means accompanied and supported, no matter what the intensity is. So that's really important because I have a family here and a community right here, but this is precious. I have to tell you, I live in a community. This community is precious. So that's myself. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anna.
Good.
Okay. Holly?
I'll go. Since we're all here.
Come
Oh yeah, I'll come closer.
a little closer so people see your hat.
So they can see your hat.
I'm wearing
That's
this.
what we wrote
I don't know
here.
where I'm looking. I've never done Zoom before. I'm
There
like
you
probably
go.
the only millennial that's never done FaceTime either.
Yeah, you're good.
But I
You're
have the
good.
flower
Well,
hat
you're
on.
dressed the part.
But I just thought that this was an incredibly profound experience for me. I've never felt like I really fit anywhere. And I feel like now, like this week, I feel like I have this family that just fits so perfectly. And I've never had that before, ever. So it feels really good. And I found myself, I've had to work at the hospital. My awesome boss, Donna, gave me a couple days off to integrate, but I still had to go back to the hospital. And even there, I felt like connected to something bigger. It was such a crazy day on Monday, but everything worked out well. It was so crazy. I got 10,000 steps, but everything just kind of worked on my Fitbit. Everything worked out like pretty, like amazingly. I've, through some of the processes with like finding my voice, I've realized I found it when I have been in meetings this week and then just like spoken up. I'm like, I've never done that before. So that was cool. And I just said it, like, like holding my own, speaking my truth. And then I stopped talking and then I'm like, oh, apparently I'm doing that now. So, yeah, oh yeah, I'm doing it now. So anyway, it was just, thank you. It was awesome. I really loved meeting all of you and everyone who's not here, and also talked to Brooke, and she got home safe and everything. So that's good.
Yay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Allie.
Thank you.
Wow. Wow.
Now you guys get to be in the hot seat.
So Allie, you just have to stay in touch with Brooke. You don't have to do anything, but know that she is also studying Barbara Marx Hubbard now. Yes. I sent her a text on whatever day that was, Sunday or something, and she said, I said, how you doing? How far did you get? And she said, I made it to Salt Lake City. I've been listening to podcasts with Barbara Marx Hubbard the whole way. And that's like a 12-hour drive around the mountain. So wonderful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Who would like to go next, Dina?
Where's Dina?
You've been hanging around with that other one a little bit too much, I think. So
I'm just trying to speak up because Allie's taught me that.
Okay. To answer Dr. Liz, you have magic hands, and I so appreciate working on me and my issues. And I get to go see Kat tomorrow, so we will talk about what you told me about, and I'm sure that she can help me with some of the things that you recommended. As for the convergence, just like still integrating and sleeping, a lot of sleeping, and have really felt just some dear connections to people, some of the people I met for the first time, and some people that were there last year as well, that just felt such a deep connection to, and so grateful for that. I talked to Sherry today by phone. I have Sue's book, and I had David Karcher's book in my hand to buy it and got distracted by something, who knows what, and set it down and kind of never went back. So I ordered that yesterday. It should be here in a couple days. So just excited to just keep going on the deep dive within. So yeah, I think that's all I have, because probably time for another nap. Everyone is muted, so I'm just going to keep talking. Should I go into my British accent, or what should I?
Well, I was excited to connect with you today. So.
Yes.
You did a beautiful job, Queenie, and it was my pleasure working on you, and we will stay in touch. And I'm in David's Primal Spirituality courses, and I've planned my entire next 6 months around them. I've done, 1A and 1B, and I'll apprise you of how they're going. I've really thoroughly enjoyed them, and I'll keep you posted, because I am a Sunrise Ranch groupie. So
Okay.
You did a beautiful job.
Okay, who would like to share next? Okay, Dave and Talia, you got the floor.
Well, just all this talk about family coming together, and Allie, I was so glad to meet you, to meet you, and the wonderful gift that you gave. I put it beside the picture of my son and daughter-in-law, and of course, my granddaughter was in her belly then, and now she is out into the world, and we're going to go see her tomorrow. It's funny though how things have gone. I really needed to rest also, Dina, and I was all ready to go the day we came back, and it was like, oh no, my stomach and my head says no, and then just so relaxed. Today and yesterday, I felt so relaxed. And I feel like that's my intention. Okay, it's coming, to relax into my true self. And I think the relaxation has to come first. So that's what's happening. And, but on a call this morning, I just thought of the wonderful support that we were together, that CCC brought us as we waited for our grandchild to come into the world. And Linda, you don't know, or Stephen, but we actually around the campfire sung her into the world. It was that time that she was born when we dedicated a song, one of our favorite children's songs, to her and all the new children coming into the world right now. And just at that time, she decided to come. So we're happy about that. And also I was just, and listening to Allie there, I had that beautiful card that welcoming her into the world with her beautiful calligraphy. And it's just something I will hold on my altar or next to their picture. And the wonderful support that when I told Dave, I think we're in the best place we could be, even better than being in Albuquerque with our son and his daughter-in-law as our Elizabeth came into the world. But because of the support that was there during this time, it was just so, holding sacred space. That's what we're calling it today. It seemed like there was that gift that CCC was able to give. So I just want to give my deep gratitude to all of you. Yeah. And much love. Thank you.
Thank you, Talia. And Liz would like to address David.
So David and I had a little bit of time to visit the last day, which I was really grateful for. And I mentioned this to him, but I think that it deserves some airtime because everyone probably didn't appreciate it when he, kind of had his closing remarks. And Noelle and I looked at each other and smiled when you said this. And I mentioned it the other day, but when you said, to really appreciate the changes, the positive changes that come, that may be imperceptible, that you may not notice, and have faith that, think positive things are happening. I think that was really poignant, and a lot of people of all ages really don't appreciate that all the time. And Noelle and I looked at each other and laughed and smiled when you said that, because it's so true, and it's so important for people to stay on the path and know that their efforts are being supported by other people, and their own efforts are, you know, being built upon for their path. So just wanted to thank you for that, and thank you for doing such a great job.
Thank you. Yeah, I was just thinking the whole birth analogy that I was thinking, you know, I mentioned that this is the CCC at the end about how, you know, for us, it was very real and very physical. You know, we had a granddaughter come into the world during CCC, but, you know, I was just thinking just now, I had a whole bunch of friends come into my life at CCC, like a birth of friends and that birth of friendship. And you're all part of my family now. You're all like my newborn grandchildren. Yeah, so welcome to the family. Yeah, for me, the CCC really was like a birth. And I'm not sure exactly what I birthed. I haven't quite completely figured that out yet, but I feel like something's different in me. I'm just different than I was before. And, you know, I'm just so grateful to all of you for sharing yourselves so openly, you know, just being transparent, being vulnerable, just being with us, you know, really 100% without any masks or, you know, just being present. And I just really appreciate that. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. It was miraculous. And it always is, but this time it was particularly deep for me. So thank you. Thank you for just your love and your presence and your friendship. My little grandchildren.
Okay, bring her next year.
We're really going young.
Yeah, we're really going young. Okay, who would like to unmute and share next before I pick you? Judah. There you go.
Right. I was thinking about unmuting, so we'll go.
I knew that.
I am in the lodge at Valley View Hot Springs in a public place. So I will speak as quietly as I can, and can you guys all hear me? If you can raise your hand or something if you can hear me okay. Okay, good. All right, so it was perfect that I went. There's a lot of deep, profound changes happening in my life, and the surface thing that I said when I first came was the intent of being more of me, more of the time. And I believe I got some really good progress on that, and I thank everybody because that mattered. And for example, the process I tried to lead on getting that physical sensation of being connected. I noticed that my fear brought out the trigger of my shadow, trying to control it rather than just saying, okay, let's figure it out together and co-create it, which would have been probably a completely more powerful experience. So I'm reflecting about how I am in the world and what I do and what works and what doesn't work. And so the other piece that's really been significant is that something equally as significant in my life is that on a few of you know this, most of you don't. When on that opening day when that Truth Booth video was playing, I left the room briefly because I had a phone call from my wife that was basically her saying through various conversation there that we're done. And then we just agreed that we'd talk on Monday. So I sat with that all through our weekend together, and I spoke with a few people deeply in some cases, and really got some truth from all of you who shared with me about who I am and what I want, and again how I am in the world. And so we talked, interestingly enough, on Monday. No, I guess it was Tuesday as I'm driving down to Valley View. she called me back, and so we have a conversation between the time I drove from the grocery store at Villa Grove to the time I pulled up in front of this lodge at Valley View. We had a conversation that basically we are separating, and we love each other, and it's not enough. And we each have things that we want that we're not getting, and we've both been unhappy when we really own it. And so we're separating. And sometime I've got some big events happening, for the next, through the fall. And so I probably, depending on what happens, I might move by the end of the year or, at the end of the year. I don't know yet. So don't know if I'll even stay on Kauai yet. Everything is very much. And so here I am, this guy waiting for an agent to sell a book with a charity client that has cut my revenue in half. And, that's a longer story that goes here. And now a marriage that's ending. And, and I know there's a possibility of reconciliation, but the truth is the issues are so primal, I don't think they'll change. So I'm like, what's next? I don't know. And so the grounding that we had last week really helps me cope with this. When we spoke on Monday, I was able to just be present and clear, honest about my feelings, the sadness that came up, and we were both really gentle with each other, and we both did a lot of truth telling. We, even though it was a phone call, there was a truth mirror going up. So now life is different, and I'm grateful for community to help me do this. So, blessings to all of you. That's my check-in.
Thanks for telling us.
Yes.
Thank you for telling us that, Judah. Are we on?
Yes, we're on.
I am so glad that I stayed that last day and that we had that chance to do the burning ceremony with Noelle and Bob together. It was because I didn't get a lot of time to spend with you, and I was just really glad that I got to spend a little bit of time with you, because it felt like you were on the other side of the world the whole time. And so I'm really glad, because I kind of felt like I got to know you a little bit, and I'm really sorry to hear about that. But like you said, you wanted to be more of yourself, more of your authentic self, and even though it's painful, the new birth on the other side is usually a little bit more positive, even though it doesn't feel like that now.
Yeah. I just want to add to that what Liz is referring to. There was a birth and a lot of rebirths of ourselves. And, as Leanne and the Weavers put traced all of our shadows, and we added to our shadows on the wall during the week. Then at the very end, Bob and Liz and Judah and I took all of the papers from the truth booth, from the shadows, and we took them up to the fire pit, and we had a burning ceremony. So we do have a video of that burning ceremony. So we transmuted a lot together. And I think the thing is that it's so wonderful that we have each other to be able to do that with. I think that's people want to know, what is CCC about? I mean, do we plant trees? Do we do this? Do we do that? And I think what our mission is to love each other and support each other, no matter what that looks like.
And to provide a safe space for whatever birth, rebirth, ending, beginning, any of us find or have. It truly is a safe space.
Yeah. And I know we have Tanya. Is Tanya still on the line? Did she have to get off? Okay. And Tanya took her beautiful diamond ring and put it on her altar, her engagement ring. She's getting married, in a couple weeks? Mm-hmm. It stayed there that whole time. What trust is that? I mean,
so I've got something to share in that regard.
Okay.
My wife had given me this coral chambered heart hand carved by somebody on Maui, and she brought that to me when we first came to Colorado to meet me. And when we were putting things on the altar, I took that off and put it on the altar. And after that phone call, I then wrapped it around my wedding ring and put that together on the altar, wrapped around my bottle. And so that sat there the whole time, all through the weekend.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, that was nonverbal. I just did it. So.
Wow. Well, we're here for you, Judah. We're here for, all of us are here for each other. And
Can I just share something?
Yes, you may, Donna.
So, Judah, when you were talking about that, even though it was not necessarily an overt action that we were all aware of, just you doing that in the sacred space, we were able to hold that for you and around you without even having to do it intentionally. It was just all organic and naturally loving.
Yes, and I trusted that, which is why I put that on the altar for all that love to help whatever was highest and best happen.
Thank you, Judah, for your deep share. And we love you.
Anybody else like to comment to Judah?
Would anyone else like to speak to Judah or to share something else? Thank you, Judah.
Yeah. I think that she saw that.
I would like to, because I actually need to go. I have another event at 7:30, which is in 3 minutes. So, Judah, I've been down that path, and it's difficult for sure. And you rebuild something new, which somehow fills you even better. It fills your soul even better. And it's interesting. We have chapters in our lives, so many chapters. And sometimes we try to cling to chapters that aren't actually serving us anymore. And then they end on us. And we're forced to move into something else. And I'm with you. I just want you to know that.
Thank you for that, Angie. The piece I didn't share is that when we settled it, there was sadness. There's also, and continues to be, a sense of relief and liberation. So that's something else happening.
Yeah.
Angie, before you leave, would you like to share briefly about your experience, the first timer?
Yeah, it was actually really wonderful. I felt like I was going off to church camp, except it was spiritual camp. And I really needed the rest. I spend a lot of time in higher states of consciousness. It's what I do a great many hours of every single day, and have since December 2011. And I needed to ground, and I needed to rest. And one of the really strong memories I hold is sitting in the tree grove. The trees talked to me and worked with me, and my soul got restored. You know, we can only give of ourselves. We should only give of ourselves from the overflow in the saucer. We shouldn't give from the cup. And I was starting to give from the cup. And so my cup got refilled and is overflowing again. And that means the world to me. And additionally, I got to meet and play with some really wonderful, great people. I loved it. Yeah. So I'm restored, renewed, and my soul is happy.
Thank you, Angie. It was a delight having you and Rob. And I just want to mention that Rob, I had a dear friend call and say that she actually hosted us on our Birth 2012 tour in Phoenix, our last state. And the person who was going to host us at the last minute canceled on us, and this person stepped up. And she's been in our life ever since. And she called and said her dog she didn't know what was wrong. Something was wrong with her dog. And she was crying and weeping. And so I said, hey, I met this wonderful guy named Rob. Let me reach out to Rob and see if he might be able to help. So she did call him, and for some reason the Google phone or something didn't work, but we exchanged pictures and notes and the dog is doing so much better now. Rob worked on the dog without ever talking to her, without ever talking directly, to the dog. So we just appreciate the dog is doing so much better now. And I'm happy for my friend because that's like her only friend in that community other than us online, CCC. So she lives in public housing and she's elderly. So she's never been able to come and join us in person, but she's always with us. So give a special thanks to Rob, and we will make a donation. He asked that we make a donation to a local shelter. So we are going to do that. So we love you and Rob, and so happy, and I understand you have other appointments. Of course, you're in demand.
All right, blessings everyone. Have a beautiful evening together with one another.
Thank you.
Thank you. And you can get the rest of this on our recording.
Oh, good. Yeah. Okay, I'll do that. Thank you.
Love you.
Bye.
Okay, I think we're going to hear from Kathy Mason now. I'm just doing it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think 4 or 5 people have already contacted me about wanting to come next year. So I've been just giving them your contact information. I don't know, did Adam and Cynthia call? Did Adam call you yesterday? Can't hear.
I haven't heard from an Adam, but if you gave him our cell number, remember we don't get cell here.
No, I did Summer number.
Okay. Haven't heard from him yet, but I know they're up. Oh, yes, I hear them now.
Oh God. So anyway, so my CCC didn't really stop until now because after we left the event, we went and opened up a giant portal on somebody's land in Niwot, Longmont. Giant portal. Just a little magic with Darlis and Dawn and Barb and me and who else? I don't know who else. And Angie and Rob, although they had to leave. So that was pretty cool. Then Darlis came back to my house, and then we went to the Angie Crystal lady's house the next day. Nahid, the crystal's still on the fireplace. Anyway, and that was super cool. So I'm just starting to integrate. I've been trying to catch up for work, and got to do a wonderful interview today. So, and I've still already talked to Paul and talked to Dawn twice already since then. So it's sort of continuing. I haven't had enough time to integrate anything. I got a couple nights sleep, but that's about it. So, but it was wonderful. Thank you all.
Thank you, Kathy. And thank you for the contribution. One of these days, I'm going to say, everybody in CCC who found us through Kathy Mason, stand up. No, I'm going to say, whoever didn't find us through Kathy Mason, stand up. But it's beautiful what how much you love and contribute to CCC. And,
well, I really feel like these people almost everyone on this call, part of the glue is that we all have seen a possible future that's filled with love and a different dream than what we're seeing. And all of us need to stick together to manifest that, in my view. So a lot of it was, you're not alone. Your skills and your uniqueness is a gift and is cherished, and people can see you all the way through to who you are, and there's no fear about that. And that's the new earth that I want to be part of. So I try to get every single one of my customers to come, because that's the only way they can launch. I mean, Cheryl can probably tell you, but I don't think there's a better way for us to create this future than by creating this unity consciousness. And it's pure love. It's just pure love. There's nothing else to explain but it.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, so Stephen, I expect you there next year. And as many of your cohorts, we tried to get Steve Farrell to come, but back then we tried several times, but his kids were too young. But maybe they're old enough now. Dylan and his daughter's probably old enough now that he could probably come.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah.
Stephen, would you like to add anything? You're more than welcome. We really appreciated you accepting the invitation and what you added to our opening ceremony. And let me just tell you one little story before I'll let you say anything. Is that there are a lot of people that were there, especially younger, who didn't know who Barbara Marx Hubbard was. And I believe Allie and Brooke, we did one exercise that was called effigy breathing, which kind of takes you into another state. And actually your hands and arms can lift up, and it's kind of wild. So these Allie and Brooke were next to each other, and they were in a lot of pain. And then they said, Barbara came in.
Yes.
Oh.
So we're in so much pain, and then Brooke and I could not pull our hands apart. We were stuck together. And then hit this point, and then Brooke said Barbara came in and told her that everything's gonna be fine. And then I saw like a flash of Barbara, and suddenly everything was fine.
Wow.
And it was a pretty crazy experience.
So were you two were holding hands?
Well, our hands were all like this, but they were like magnetized back to back.
Really?
We both tried to pull them apart, but we couldn't.
Wow. Wow.
So Barbara's presence, I mean, did you know anything about Barbara before you got there?
Yeah.
She'd been
You
studying.
You did. But
Brooke didn't. Yeah.
So
and Brooke's the one who saw her first.
So with that, I'm gonna.
See, she was very present, Stephen. I'll let you talk with us, please. So present here. She, where our house is here at Sunrise Ranch, Barbara's house is literally right there, about 400 feet away from the front door. Donna, you parked right next to Barbara's car. That's her red car out there. And so in many, many different ways, we feel that. And we'd love to hear from you now.
Well, I'm not surprised. I'll start with that. And I think what I appreciated David was saying earlier, that there was a certain depth he felt this year that was different from years past. And I would be so bold as to conclude that the retreat that the ambassadors had there at Sunrise over the Easter weekend brought a whole, it is transformational, I believe, for that space, which is Sunrise Ranch. And I wouldn't be surprised if people have like all the stories you're telling, like feeling the depth, however that's experienced, and just feeling Barbara's presence. We experienced that at the retreat. It was her presence and her continued influence and love was just so powerful that it doesn't surprise me at all. Any of the stories you're telling about how you experienced this year is different from the past, because her presence continues to reverberate. And I'm going back and watching recordings of the ambassador programs now, because I'm putting together a sub project from it. So I love getting reacquainted with that material because it's a beautiful affirmation of her presence that's just strengthening, like that, is just all the more powerful now than it ever has been.
Wow. Thank you. Truly, truly so. We, and I should mention to all of you, if you don't see it on Facebook, either through the CCC pages or from Noelle and I, there'll be more celebration in that regard. The Evolutionary Leaders Group is arriving here at the ranch. A few got here yesterday. The rest will come tomorrow. Linda, Stephen Dinan will be here. It's the first time we'll have seen him since 2013. And they're having a event in the Dome from 2 o'clock Mountain Time to 3:30 on Sunday. and it will be Facebook Live and webcast. So welcome you all to that, presentations and music and other things. Kristen Hoffman's here from New York. And so please join into that as well. And we've been talking to all the ladies, the 4 ladies from Fort Collins. We're going to actually have a movie night and watch American Visionary again. Noelle and I have, of course, seen it many times, and we have screened it at a couple of centers for spiritual living in Florida and elsewhere. But now with new eyes, we can, and with the experience of having a number of people here in Fort Collins that came to the Convergence that have not seen the movie before. So it'd be wonderful to share. And we'll send out notice to others in the northern Colorado area, Nahid and Cheryl and Kathy. If you want to come join us as well, we'll do that maybe a couple weeks down the road. Thank you so much for your contribution, Stephen. Really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. And thank you for having me here tonight.
You bet. Nahid, would you like to share?
You're muted.
You're on mute, Nahid.
You're muted.
There you go. We hear you.
Yes. I was saying that I've been called on my grandma duty 10, 12 hours a day. I am exhausted. I mean, I was filled up with so much yummy stuff when I was leaving. And talking about integration, I have not been just by myself in my own space yet. So actually, it's like my liberation day, I always said is June 21st, because I would be released after June 20th, which this is the beginning of that. So you would hear about what would come out of this, which I don't know what it is, but I know physically, I don't have much energy. I don't know where that is going. I don't know, Barbara keeps talking about getting humor, what is happening at the cellular level with all that happened there. So I am grateful for this family reunion, and I was nurtured, supported, came more to light, and delighted to be there for the rest of the time that we are together next year. I'm complete. Thank you.
Thank you, Nahid. Well, we look forward to seeing you in the coming weeks in Boulder or up here, and we can hear all about that. In fact, if you wanted to come up, the event is in the Dome on this Sunday from 2 until 3:30, so it's open to the public if you'd like to come up.
There's no charge.
Yeah, there's no charge for it. So
Sunday 2 to 3:30, this Sunday at Sunrise Ranch?
That's correct. Yep.
Okay. And that is the evolutionary leaders, yes?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Now calling Houston, Texas. Would Kathy I like to say something? Kathy, I'm going to unmute you, maybe.
There you go.
There you go. You're unmuted. Kathy?
Debbie?
Are you going by your spiritual name now, Debbie?
She may be in a noisy place.
Okay. All right. Come back to us if you can. And now calling him as Springs.
Oh, you've got Kate.
Oh, Kate. Get to you in just a second.
And Cheryl.
Yeah. And Cheryl. Can we receive a share and broadcast from Northern New Mexico?
I'll share.
Okay, go ahead, Cheryl.
Okay, so I had a very interesting time at CCC because I was pretty reluctant to go. And thank goodness Kathy kept on prodding me. You know, a lot of you know that I've just healed myself from terminal cancer, and I hadn't really got, and my body needed to heal. So I knew I was going to be coming out in the spring sometime, and I kept on waiting and waiting. But the co-convergence was really my beginning to say yes to life. And it was so, so powerful. And now that I'm back home, I just like feel so much love. I'm just like bursting every single day with gratitude and revelations that are coming through. And I know that, you know, I didn't participate in everything because I had an attitude toward it, but that not participating was definitely a part of demonstrating that I can act independently. And when I saw that, being at home, I mean, my heart exploded even more with being there and having that opportunity in such a small group, you know. So that was very, very powerful in and of itself for me. And I'm working with Don, and I'm trying to train with Don, and I've been doing his work, and I have a group of people coming over on next Thursday to do it. And it's like, I'm saying yes to all this stuff. It's very, very exciting. And I feel like there's this new breath in my being, this not only breath, but depth of breath. So I am so grateful. So, so grateful. Thank you to you all.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
There you go.
Inky
Oh,
spider without the water spout. You are a class act, gracious, beautiful human being, and I'm so glad I got to meet you.
oh, thank you. Thank you so much. One of the things that I did on my own, because after Leanne's offering, I was so deep. And then it was walking the spiral to find out your soul song, or your
Keeper.
like that. Was that what it was called? Anyway, I did that. Yeah, what I was a keeper of. That's right. And because I was so deep, I just went out and walked the spiral right away so my head wouldn't get engaged. And what I'm a keeper of is Joy's song.
Mm.
That's
Wow. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So we just got a little chat here in the side box. Oh, it's to everyone in case you can't see it. It says from Kathy I, saying, sorry, my mic seems to be not working. I may need some IT help. LOL. Yes, a big love burst to all of us. So who would like to go next? Anybody in New Mexico? Oh, Linda. Linda, please.
Hi. Just because I wasn't there this year, I can really give testimony to the love that is anchored in your very cells forever when you experience the CCC. And so Stephen, thank you for being on this call. You and I are kind of like hanging in there listening, although I am experiencing everything that everyone is talking about because I've done that for 6 years. And I was with you. I love the pictures that are being shared. And although I wasn't in every circle and doing all of the shadow work and actually doing the experiences, I know how powerful and transformative they are. And the Weavers were just amazingly awesome that I know. So I'm just happy to be part of this. I suppose I'm representing all of the people who did not go to the CCC this year, and I do hope to be there next year, although something has evolved again back in my life, which started me on this whole convergence thing in 2007, where I put together those were before the days of co-creating, that I put together the Midwest Reiki Convergence in Michigan. And Spirit kind of came in and told us that next year this is going to happen again. So I'll be doing 2 convergences, one in June and one in July. God willing, you know, that's what I plan to be there. But in speaking your truth, and for what Cheryl just said, she was so happy to be able to actually not participate and be okay with that. Is that I relate to that. I did not come this year, and I'm so okay with that because I'm so intricately woven with every one of you that there's a love bond that I'm so happy everybody has had the experience that they've had. And I didn't have to be there, and I was really okay with that this year. I definitely will be back, but there's something that was fine with me just not being there physically this year. I couldn't, and I didn't, and I was okay with it. But I know the experience that you've had, and it's beautiful. I'm really happy for all of you. And Stephen, maybe next year, you know?
I've already put on my calendar.
I think so did I. And I think Kathy Sipple will come with us too. So we'll get a little Indiana contingency going.
Yeah, perfect.
And maybe some of the people who come to the Midwest Reiki Convergence will come to the Co-Creators Convergence. Who knows? All I know is that converging is something that is happening to us, for us, through us, with us. And wow, I feel so blessed to be on this ride. And Bob and Noel, you know how much I love you, because we just sort of started this thing, and mwah, wow, look how it's evolved.
Thanks.
Just makes my heart sing. So that's what I wanted to add to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Linda. Hopefully we will see you when we make our usual Great Lakes visit in the end of July. Kate, would you like to share?
Well, Kate would just say that every year it gets deeper. The connections get deeper, and it feels like the ride on the Synchronicity Express just gets more profound, and reminding me that we are in the middle of a miracle. So yeah, it was the first year that Barbara physically wasn't there, and she was, but she had just, everyone was a disciple of Barbara that had been there. And the metaphor was made to me a few weeks ago by a grandmother. She said, Barbara tilled the field of evolution. And then so many of you have been plowing these furrows, and now we're all planting the seeds that, as we're speaking, the earth we want to live in, the earth we want to see. And it was profound to me how I have deepened conversations already this week with a few people here that our relationship is deepening. And, I'm going to England next month with 5 people who are at the convergence, which is kind of interesting. And then how Leanne was taken into the cave. It just kind of, a little bit, it's so close to reality for me, this ride on the Synchronicity Express. And Mark's gonna pop in and
all right. Hi, Mark.
And so he's here listening in the
I just say
background.
hello. You all look better. Vacation always does us all good, doesn't it?
Mark, it's about your experience that happened to you at CCC. Would you comment on that? No, we know how Mark is, so thank you for
Full of love and song.
seeing his unconventional beauty, please.
Oh, that's what you call it.
Yeah, that's it.
We love Mark.
We love Mark. Thank you,
We
Red.
love you, Kate.
Thank you, Red Clover. And Linda, for your benefit, usually Kate goes out when we're taking breaks and goes out and weeds in the gardens here at Sunrise Ranch. This year, Noelle loaded, 12 people into the pickup truck and actually did a ranch tour during one of the on your own times. It was quite popular. And of course, Kate was in her natural habitat with that. Really great time. So let's see. Oh, might Karen and or Leanne like to share with us? We lost video. There you are. We weren't sure if the electricity had been shut off in town.
No, we just had to move because our battery's low and we didn't want to lose the connection, so we're resituating.
Your battery or the computer's battery?
Both. So everything that everyone's been saying is exactly how I feel too. I feel like every year it goes deeper. Every year the relationships just become more profound, and it's just so amazing how everybody comes together and shares their gifts and shares themselves and just opens their heart. This truly is the way we're supposed to live, and to just live in that space and be reminded of it in such a intense period of time together is just profound. And I haven't processed it all because Karen and I have continued the adventure. We've been every day experiencing wonderful things, and so I have some intense time coming up with the clients. So I'm thinking the end of next week, I'll probably start having the opportunity to process it all. But it's so wonderful to, Judah, you have a family here with us now. Everyone's just a text or a phone call away, and that's the beauty of this group. It's my second and my last year being a weaver, and as deep and profound as this experience is that we have for these 5 days together, being a weaver adds even another layer to that, because we come together and work on this for like 10 or 11 months, and the love I feel to everybody in the entire group, it's even more profound with the weaver group, because we became like one unit this year, and that was really profound as an experience. So yeah, it's more than a family. It's deeper than a family. It's so incredibly sacred. So I just want to thank everybody for your open hearts and being who you are. Love you all. And Karen.
Beautiful. Yeah, so Liz did work on me, and while there were profound physical changes and shifts in my body and areas addressed where had previously pain had existed and no longer does, there was also a gift of light that came in. And when I shared that with her, she said, wow, you're the second person I just worked on that said that, and that's never happened to me before. So keep that light flowing through your hands, please, Liz. Judah, so much love to you. Ditto what Leanne said, phone call, text, anytime, 3 a.m, whenever. I just had what I call right before we were about to speak, Bob asked us to speak, and then someone else came on. And this hasn't happened the entire time we've been sitting here, what I call my BB buzz, which Bob knows what that is. There was a moment when Bob and Sherry and Judah, thanks to Judah for making this invitation, David, and I feel like there was one more person there, Sherry, anyway, whoever was there, with Angie playing in the background, we were having this beautiful, rich conversation, and Bob was speaking, and we were sitting very close, like Leanne and I, and right in between, this bee just buzzed right through us. And to me, it was just this affirmation of Boomer's presence and Barbara's presence. So I call it the BB buzz. And so, I mean, there's gnats out here, there's flies, there's these little animals making noise in the bushes, but there hasn't been one bee And it just went right through us. And I know it lands a bit sensitive to peace. So I was like, okay, thank you for showing up. And could you move on now? So for me, I think one of the most profound things about this covert convergence is I've been asking to work what I was calling on the invisible, the underneath, the unseen. And I had a huge shift somewhere between January and March around this. So I was just playing with it where I'd say something and or feel something, intend something within me, and it would show up. And that has just been. Leanne and I left. We took Dita to the airport, so we left about 4 in the morning, and on Monday, and we went to Crestone, and we did this beautiful sacred journey, the different various stupas and sacred places up in Crestone, and then to Ojo Caliente. And I highly am recommending that we find a place to soak, which was profound integration for us that next day, and we soaked that night and the next day as well, and truly so much lifted off for me personally, and so much integration happened. And then there was just this, like, whatever I needed to know showed up. So overhearing somebody talk about Amma in town in the next couple of days, which Amma is the hugging saint, and I've never seen her, and that was profound. And that led us to her every step of the way. We went and stayed in an earth ship, and it was almost just, it was so divinely orchestrated. And because I had let go of so much of the personality stuff that I went through during the week and really integrated it, I got to just see, where my work is, really within me, and keep showing up as the light that is me. And for Stephen and Linda, one of the things that kept occurring for me during the convergence was every time we'd close our eyes and, we sit in circle, all I saw was the golden light of each person. So if you've ever seen an image of that in a photograph or a painting that somebody's done, and that is just what I keep seeing, is the golden light of each image. And it has been so profound. And then to get up again this morning at 5:30 a.m. and drive and go see Amma and be in the presence of that, and to make a long story super sort of short, this woman who I'm affiliated with, her dad, she was like 2 people away from me, and we ended up being able to share the entire experience together with Leanne, and we were among the first 4 or 5 people to see Amma. And it was, again, just divine orchestration, and so profound. So I just am so deeply honored to have been a part of this convergence. I always appreciated Noelle offering me an invitation every year, even as she knew I was waiting till my youngest son went to college. And I'm really happy to have been on the Weaver team this year. I learned so much, so much. And I'm so proud of our Weaver group and how much we opened and opened and opened. And that was really phenomenal. And I'm so excited. Leanne's probably like her ears are probably just going crazy because of all the different ideas I've shared, that I'm so excited for next year. So thank you all. I love you.
Oh boy, thank you, Karen. Wow, might I offer that we take a deep breath about all that we have experienced then, since then, and now. One big breath of love in, and one big breath of love out to the world.
How about for you, Bob? Did we hear from you? Yeah.
Thought so. So, wow, I just want to sit and visit the rest of the evening. But we may actually go over to the permaculture garden next to the barber tree. Noelle calls the barber tree today. We watered it. You saw the picture on Facebook. I don't know. I think we might just go over there and have a little fire in that fire kettle that was out there by the picnic table. There aren't any marshmallows left because Karen gave them away to the kids or herself. What a joyous time. Does anybody have any closing arguments for the jury?
Do you want to see whether Kathy can get in?
Yes.
Oh, David does.
David, go ahead.
Yeah, we need to schedule naps next year.
Naps. Okay. Okay. This is also a good idea.
David, wait till you hear about the idea we have planned that fits nicely with that.
Oh my goodness.
Third eye rejuvenation.
We told, okay, one last little story then. So we had our debrief with the management here about whether we behaved ourselves or not, and whether they'll let us come back next year under contract. And and we shared with Erica, who's the head of the events department, that a few years ago, when our theme was galactic co-creation, one of our folks who proudly announced in the breakfast line the next day that she sleeps in the nude, and she had gotten up to go to the wrapped herself, gone to the bathroom, shared bathrooms, Stephen, in all these dorms, and you've been up here before, and then she went back to what she thought was her room and climbed into bed with another guy from the other group that was here that weekend. And Erica had never heard that story. Buck naked, and dropped her cover and slid into bed, and he was quite surprised, and she was quite surprised, and her husband was quite surprised. He was back in their room, and she ran off to her room, and then and the guy from the other group brought her wrap back to her at the breakfast line the next morning. So,
and they've become good friends.
and they've become good friends since. And those are the things that happen. Those are just the things that happen.
There is a real advertisement.
Yeah,
Yes.
we've been looking for that marketing hook, haven't we? Now we've got it.
Code for pro creators to grow to. Right. So before we close, I do want to.
Even the dog's getting anxious.
Yeah. I do want to say that there are a lot of pictures that have been posted, and Kathy Mason is, of course, a marketing guru, and she said the more that we comment on the posts, just don't like them, but put a comment, a word, or something, the wider distribution it will get. So the other thing we want to distribute is that until the end of the month, there is a what are you all calling it?
Oh, yes, thank you. Yes, an extra special, non-refundable, non-transferable, you're never going to get this price again, registration fee of $150.
Right. And I'm suggesting that about a half dozen people have taken care of it already. And we suggest that you write a check and send it to us, and we put it into the CCC account. That helps Bob and I when we go like, where did this money come from? We have some kind of paper trail. We make sure it gets to the right place. And the Weavers for next year have not been announced. So there's just been too much to do and no time to think about that at this time, but stay tuned. It might be you.
Are you volunteering, Linda?
That is not interested in weaving.
You never know, right?
You never know.
Life takes us on interesting journeys.
Yeah.
I've learned to say yes and no. Very beautifully.
And next year's theme will be Third Eye Intuition. So we have Heartful Co-Creation, the Voice of Co-Creation, and now we're going up to the Third Eye, and 2021, of course, will be the crown. Somebody asked me what happens after that. I said, we take more stuff up.
Something. We've heard everything blows the top off, right? As
Yeah.
Barbara would say, we just blow the lid off.
It will be revealed to us.
Universal humanity.
There you go.
What did you say?
What did you say, Stephen?
I said universul humanity. That's after the crown.
All right. All
There you
right.
go. Wonderful.
That year, you're going to be a weaver.
It's only a year-long duty. It's not a big deal.
And Leanne reminded me that it's 2020 Third Eye Vision.
Oh, yeah.
2020 Third Eye Vision. Perfect vision. Yeah.
Vision.
Yeah,
Oh, I
it
love
is.
that.
Yeah.
What was it?
Perfect vision.
Oh, yes.
Third eye.
Yes.
Wow.
Well, this has been awesome, Bob. You gotta close
Absolutely,
it out.
this has been absolutely yummy, everyone. Thank you for those
Gather around the
those who were on
campfire here.
Those that were on the call earlier and had other obligations, those that are watching this recording, and hope to see many of you on the Facebook Live at 2 o'clock on Sunday, if not here in person. And that's all. That's all I got to say about it. That's all I have to say about
Yes,
that.
please comment. Please comment on the, just please comment on the pictures. And Kathy still has another 1,000 to go, and we have another 1,000 to go. And look for the burning of the shadow, the 2-minute video of the 4 of us transmuting all of our shadows, and you didn't even have to be there.
Thank you, thank you.
And come back next month too, so we can hear more from Stephen.
Yes. Oh, thank you for the reminder. Thank you, Leanne. Yes, Stephen's be our guest next month for the whole time. We're really looking forward to that, Stephen. Thank you.
Yeah, as am I.
And we'll
Thank
be
you.
hosting you.
Wonderful.
So I will send you. I'll send you a letter that we send out. To know how we roll.
As you can tell, quite formally.
Works for me. I look forward to it.
Thank you
Great.
so much.
Thank you, Stephen.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Peace and love, everybody.
Thanks for the memories that I'm experiencing